Hello all, good evening. In today's lecture, we are going to see the general introduction about alkaloids. So these alkaloids, as we know, it's an important secondary metabolite present in nearly all the plants. It exerts many pharmacological action and alkaloids exert the pharmacological action in minimum quantity at a very small dose so that these alkaloids are of great significance. So these alkaloids are defined as basic organic heterocyclic nitrogenous compounds containing one or more nitrogen atom and are physiologically active in smaller concentration. So we'll see the meaning of one by one. Alkaloid. These alkaloidal compounds in general are termed as alkali-like substances, basic substances. So they are basic in nature. Why they are basic in nature is all the alkaloids contains at least one nitrogen atom. All the alkaloids contains at least one nitrogen atom, so that it's basic in nature. And the nitrogen which is present in alkaloid in most cases will be inside the ring, and in certain alkaloids it will be present outside the ring. So all the alkaloids contains at least one nitrogen atom, and the nitrogen atom will be present inside the ring. In certain assumptions, these nitrogens are present outside the ring. And these are physiologically active in smaller concentration. As I already said, these alkaloids are pharmacologically active at a very small concentration. And they are also called as flanzenkellin. Alkaloids are also called as flanzenkellin. And the term alkaloid has been given by a German pharmacist known as Meissner in the year 1819. So Meissner, a German pharmacist, first given the name called as alkaloids, before which it has been known as flanzenkellin. So the general properties of alkaloids are they are colorless in nature. Most of the alkaloids are colorless in nature. There are certain alkaloids which are having colors. So they are generally colorless and they are crystalline in its nature. So they are crystals, and each and every alkaloidal crystal has a specific melting point, and it's one of the character by which we can able to evaluate the particular alkaloid. So they are colorless, they are crystalline substances with a very sharp melting point, and in general they occurs as salts. So these alkaloids occurs as salts along with any one acid. Only in certain plants these alkaloids occurs as free bases. So most commonly it occurs as salts. And these alkaloidal salts are soluble in water, whereas the free bases are insoluble in water and soluble in non-polar solvents. So alkaloidal salts are soluble in water and the alkaloidal bases are soluble in non-polar solvents. It possesses bitter in taste. So commonly alkaloids are bitter substances. And for the plants, these alkaloids protects the plants against insects and microbes. So in general these alkaloids are having antimicrobial property, and since these alkaloids are bitter in taste, the plants stores these alkaloids on the external surface of the plant so that these insects or animals will not bite or eat the plants, since it will be very bitter. So in that sense these alkaloids protects the plants from insects and microbes. And these alkaloids possess various pharmacological properties, and the pharmacological property is purely based on what's the chemical nature of the particular alkaloid. Right. We could able to identify these alkaloids by 4 tests, which are Dragendorf's test, Mayer's test, Hager's test, and Wagner's test. So in Dragondoff's test, we will be using Dragondoff's reagent. In Mayer's test, we will be using Mayer's reagent. In Hager's reagent, we will be using Hager's reagent. It goes on. Right. Now coming to classification of alkaloids. There are generally two different types of classification. One is based on the origin and number two is based on the chemical nature. What is this origin is based on the place from where the nitrogen has synthesized or nitrogen is located. So based on that, the alkaloids are classified as true alkaloids, proto-alkaloids, pseudo-alkaloids. True alkaloids, proto-alkaloids, pseudo-alkaloids. So in true alkaloid, the nitrogen is produced from any one amino acid. Nitrogen has been obtained from amino acid and the nitrogen will be present inside the ring structure. So if the nitrogen is present inside the ring structure of the alkaloid and if it is obtained from an amino acid, then we will term it as true alkaloid. If the nitrogen is obtained from amino acid, but if it is present outside the ring structure, then that will be called as proto-alkaloid. So in proto-alkaloid, nitrogen is obtained from amino acid, but it is not present inside the ring, it is present outside the ring structure of the alkaloid. In the third category, pseudo-alkaloid, neither nitrogen is obtained from amino acid nor the nitrogen is present inside the ring structure, but these compounds give answer for alkaloidal chemical test, so that we are calling it as pseudo-alkaloids. As the name indicates, pseudo means false, right? So they don't have the general characters of alkaloid, but they answer a chemical test for alkaloid, so that they are called as pseudo-alkaloids. So based on the origin, alkaloid may be a true alkaloid, alkaloid may be a proto-alkaloid, alkaloid may be a pseudo-alkaloid. Now based on the chemical nature, alkaloids are classified into many categories, which means based on the basic ring structure of the alkaloid, based on what's the basic ring structure present in that particular alkaloid, they are classified as purine alkaloid, indole alkaloid, quinoline alkaloid, isoquinoline alkaloid, pyrimidine alkaloid, it goes on. So if the basic ring structure is indole, we will call it as indole alkaloid. If the basic ring structure is quinoline, we will call it as quinoline alkaloid. If the basic ring structure is pyrimidine, then we will call it as pyrimidine alkaloid. So based on what's the basic ring structure present in that particular alkaloid, they are classified into many categories. Right? So that's about the general introduction about alkaloids. So they are basic, nitrogenous, and it contains at least one nitrogen atom. They are colorless, bitter in taste. They are crystalline substances. They are active in smaller concentration. They can be identified by 4 chemical tests. And based on the origin, they can be true, proto or pseudo. And based on the chemical nature, there are many categories. Right? So that's about alkaloids general introduction. Hope you could have understood. If you have any doubt or query, please put it in the comment section. I'll answer. Please subscribe, share it to your friends. Thank you.